The time is just gone 8:36 a.m. 9:36 a.m. as we continue with the show this morning, and we are now going to go across to be joined by Africa Muslims Agency's Dr. Elias Parker, and it is amazing. It is amazing how time actually flies, where we see many people, many organizations starting off initiatives, and we've now learned 35 years already with Africa Muslims Agency, and one cannot imagine the amount of people, the amount of lives that an organization like Africa Muslims Agency has touched in the last 35 years. And we're not only talking locally, we're talking globally, right across the entire world. Dr. Elias Parker, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to your good selves and our dear viewers and listeners of Salam Media. Indeed, a pleasure to be in your esteemed company.
Well, Jazakallah khair, and well, we need to say congratulations, Mubarak, to Africa Muslims Agency. 35 years, always a defining moment. You know, we measure our lives, we measure our contributions with timelines, and 35 years is a very, very long time for an organization, and I'm sure started off humble beginnings, and what the AMA has achieved in the last 35 years, Dr. Parker.
Well, alhamdulillah, I think it's befitting to mention that the Africa Muslim Agency was started by the late father of Imran Hassan and Hussein Chunara, brother Muhammad Farid Chunara, together with Dr. Abdul Rahman As-Sumaid. And when they initially launched the idea of a relief organization, they confined themselves to South Africa, done sterling work in South Africa. In fact, I was probably a teenager when I met brother Muhammad Farid Chunara, and grew from strength to strength. And today, they've entrenched their relief work into the entire African continent, Somalia, Sudan, Mozambique, Kenya, Burma, as well as in war-ridden areas such as Lebanon, Syria. And I think for one to actually sustain a number of years of good relief work, you have to have the optimum of commitment, the self-belief, and needless to say, the support from donors that really make this possible. And I think a big thank you and a shukr should go to the people around. There's always a very interesting story behind the story. And the story behind the story we're talking about here is simply the support that donors have generously come forward to ensure that Africa Muslims Agency deliver to those where it matters most and to those where it's needed most. And 35 years, you are absolutely correct. It's a long time. It's a lifetime of sustained, great, sterling work. Also, we need to say thank you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Africa Muslim Agency, we are the custodians of an organization that was placed in a very favorable position in order to deliver this sterling work. I think that we must never forget to thank our Almighty first and foremost. And one would like to believe that over these 35 years, you have made a salient, a distinct difference in the lives of those people, whether it is providing relief work, whether it is providing educational support, whether it is providing a masjid in a war-torn area, or for that matter, establishing a platform of refugee tents and so forth. And I think African Muslim Agency have a history of providing service, across this diverse, whether it is education, toilets. I mean, they have in South Africa, for example, with impending winter coming, they are gearing themselves to provide a blanket supply system, as well as toiletries, a distinct dignity packs, to our young growing ladies. And I think that's a type of support that we call upon our donors to ensure that African Muslim Agency can actually deliver on their objectives.
Yes, and also, Dr. Parker, you speak about commitment, you speak about dedication of people, and as you mentioned, we need to thank Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. But it is also the sincerity and the sincerity of intention. And I'm sure Muhammad Farid Chunara, rahimahumullah, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, fill his qabr with nur, inshallah. Very, very sincere man and sincere in his intention. And we know in Islam, innamal a'malu binniyat, where our actions are determined by our intentions. And those sincere intentions have now come to bear a fruit where 35 years later, we see this huge impact, this huge difference that AMA has made in the lives of millions of people across the world.
Well, I have a lot to thank brother Uncle Muhammad Farid Chinara because, as I said, as a teenager, I met him. And when he gave me a call, when we established an exhibition on Islamic literature in the Muslim world in 1985, and he phoned me, he says to me, I don't have money, but I need a store. And I'll put whatever I have, in a station wagon car, and he drove from Cape Durban to Cape Town. And that's when I met him. And today, Africa Muslim Agency have taken relief work to another level, to a level whereby with the press of a button, they can make a difference in the lives of thousands of people across thousands of kilometers in another continent. And I think that happens also because of the high degree of volunteerism that exists within the ambit of African Muslim Agency as an organization. And I think the components of a successful relief organization need to harness together their efforts. And I think African Muslim Agency have done that sterlingly. You've got your donors, you've got your volunteers, you've got the members who work on the ground. They, under treacherous conditions, would drive to any destination in Africa in order to open a water well. And I think that to me is an epitome of the type of commitment that they have displayed over the last 35 years. And therefore they have the type of accolades and success to show for that. And once again, in humility, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we've been placed in this privileged position in order to make a difference in the lives of those people.
Yes. Now I see in Cape Town there is a commemorative banquet coming up in honor of these 35 years. Tell us more about this event.
Well, tomorrow night, which is on the 20th of May, there is a banquet to symbolically launch the 35th anniversary. As you said earlier, Brother Inayat, that any organization that sustains itself for 35 years, untarnished, no blemish, and simply stuck to the objectives to deliver on the mandate, needs to be celebrated. And I think tomorrow night, inshallah, there's a banquet to acknowledge and to accredit and thank the donors, the volunteers. It will be held at the waterfront, at the lookout, as well as lots of hard work, lots of money, lots of human hours of labor have gone into an endeavor to encapsulate what AMA has achieved over the last 35 years in an exhibition. And I invite each and every Muslim that is, or each and every person that is by the means to actually find yourself on Saturday morning between the hours of 10 and 5 at the waterfront and be part of history. Because what you will be seeing here is a historical event, because encapsulated and encompassed within this exhibition of 35 years would be exactly what AMA has done. They've managed to captivate people in the various areas that they've done this. We have endeavored to bring this to the exhibition so as to instill a sense of humanity within the people of Cape Town and hopefully inspire them to continue to volunteer for AMA, to donate, and just to be part of a solution in our endeavor to create a more just and a fair world for all. So what is encapsulated within this exhibition? For example, there's a typical refugee tent. So we've heard about it, we've seen it on television sometimes, we read about it, and sometimes we just gloss over it. But here you will be, you will find yourself in a situation where you'll be confronted with a typical real refugee tent right in the middle of Somalia or Kenya or Syria for that matter. And you'll be stepping inside a refugee camp exactly the way it exists within these war-torn areas. They've created thousands of water wells and boreholes, taking water to thousands of people, allowing people to make wudu. And I think, yeah, I must just mention that people have walked for 10 and 20 kilometers, old people well over 60, in order to bring water to their destination, to their place of staying. And I think that to me has been possibly one of the saddest events in the life of these people, because some of them don't send their kids to school because they need to walk 20 kilometers back to and back at 40 kilometers a day just to get water. So now, alhamdulillah, African Muslim Agency have, as far as possible, created water wells around all these areas. So these children can now go to school, these aged mothers can now function on the daily domestic duties instead of walking 40 kilometers a day to get water. They've, for example, established a number of masajids, in these areas. And I think one of the things that I'd like to mention is you'll be stepping inside a little virtual thing, and you'll be given a goggle, And when you put these glasses on, you'll experience a 360-degree virtual experience of a refugee camp right in the middle of these war-torn areas. And I think that is the type of exhibition that we've put together. Entry is completely free. We've also got a number of food stalls and other stores, and goods will be made available to you. Consumable food will be made available to you at subsidized prices. So, absolutely no reason why anybody from Cape Town or nearby should not visit this historical exhibition come Saturday morning from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. on the 21st of May, inshallah.
Well, it certainly sounds a very, very interesting exhibition to attend, and I'm sure there's, many people obviously learning, but also at the same time, it gives AMA an opportunity to showcase what you have been doing in the last 35 years. And we're talking of not only to the Muslim community, when one looks at the waterfront, the location of the waterfront, many people visiting the waterfront, both local and obviously other people that visit this very, very popular place in Cape Town in terms of the waterfront. So again, showcasing AMA, but also a humanitarian, showcasing what humanitarians and who humanitarians are and the difference they make in the lives of people, Dr. Parker.
Well, just to underline that point, I think, we've not just plunked together a number of artifacts or a number of creations of AMA over 35 years. At every of these stations, there will be an enlightened and informed person standing who will, within a matter of a few seconds, will give you a detailed description and understanding of what goes into putting a water well together, what is the type of benefits, how many people benefit through it, etc. So it's an informed, it's an enriched experience that you will have as you peruse and walk through this exhibition. And I think it's historic because never ever before, in my opinion, has we in Cape Town, especially, or in South Africa, had the opportunity to get a sense and a feel of what exactly goes on in a refugee tent. What is the type of life that people experience that have to walk 40 kilometers to get water to make wudu or to make food, or for that matter, to make salah in a straw masjid. And I think that's the type of feel and enrichment that we want to instill and imbibe in our people. And for me, that is historic because, as I said earlier, we see it on television, we read about it, we hear about it, and sometimes, we just glibly gloss over it. Here is an opportunity to experience it and to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if we just appreciate what those people go through. And yet, thereafter, we will be inspired to play a more significant and pivotal role in making a difference in the lives of these people.
Well, Jazakallah khairan so much for that, Dr. Parker, obviously for coming on and talking to us, but also we wish you well at the banquet tomorrow. I believe Mufti Ismail Mank is going to be one of the speakers. In fact, I just saw the banner at the lookout at the waterfront. For people still wanting to attend, can they still attend the banquet?
Unfortunately, the banquet is a sold out with Mufti Mink, the keynote speaker. We've had absolutely a sold out as far as the banquet is concerned. But needless to say, the experience at the exhibition will more than make up for that. We've got
I'm
a
sure.
day of activity, a day of information, a day of euphoria planned for people come Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah once again and wishing you well, Dr. Parker and everybody at AMA. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your efforts and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take you from strength to strength to achieve, to even go to greater heights and achieve a lot more than what you have been achieving in the last 35 years, inshallah.
Jazakallah and shukran to one and all, your staff and management, and you have a blessed day, inshallah.
Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Dr. Elias Parker with Africa Muslims Agency with us this morning. We're going to go for a break. We come back and we have been having warnings. Weekend weather, a cold snap expected this weekend, and we are going to be talking to a weather forecaster, Mbavi Maliake, who is a forecaster. So let's see what we can expect weather-wise this weekend, inshallah, in the country.